Hi guys, Archie Luxury on the Paul Pluta channel. I'm the method actor who plays Paul Pluta. I'm Archibald Chesterfield III, and today I'm doing a paid review. These are very important to me to keep Archie going full time. And this paid review here is for Malcolm. Hi Archie, I would love a review of my IWC 3705 ceramic Fliegerchonograph, also known as the Black Flieger. As a young pilot, now I gotta tell you something guys, let's just get my pilot ready. Yes, I'm putting my pilot on. I've just got this out of storage because I've had it tucked away and I'm doing a bit of a rotation. Yep, getting my Speedmaster Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon, the ultimate pilot. Doesn't get more cooler than space travel, does it, hey? Okay, here we go. As a young pilot at the time, I bought and loved a Breitling Aerospace reference 80360. Yes, I know it's an ETA quartz, but I found it to be super handy and practical with a great look and light feel. I just love the crisp, clean look of the non-reflective sapphire coating and the blue face. It was not that expensive, but for me at the time it was all my savings. Several years later, I saw in Hong Kong the IWC Der Fliegerchonograph ceramic and fell in love. Unfortunately, they only had German and French versions until I noticed it in a London Heathrow window. I bought the English version on the spot and have worn it ever since then. It has needed one IWC service and it's getting its second local service now 22 years after I bought it. It has an ETA Valjoux 7750. That's the movement. That's quite a common, very common, used by a lot of makers there. Movement. They apparently made only 2,000 of them, as people at the time hated black. Something to do with Casio black plastic quartz. So they changed on the 3706 to metal. I suppose this makes it collectible, or is it just a shitty watch? I like to think I have some quality of taste, but maybe not. Would love to hear your thoughts. As my Breitling has been tucked away for 22 years, it is in great condition, and after a new battery, I love wearing it again. Hello, it's like 39 grams. The watch I would love to buy one day is the Rolex Sky Dweller reference 326934 in steel, white gold bezel and blue face. But I can't afford to move up yet. Am I crazy? Regards, Malcolm. I've sent you $20 in Aussie dollars to your PayPal. Thank you, Malcolm. 20 US to your PayPal account. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, this is very interesting. I love these type of stories because I like to hear about people who've, they started off in the hobby. I like it, warts and all. Tell me your mistakes. Breitling Aerosmith. Then he got a IWC Fliegerchonograph ceramic. And his dream grail watch is a Sky Dweller. One of the new Sky Dwellers in steel with the white gold bezel. Now, he's asking me, what do I think of his IWC? And I gotta say, I love the progression. This is what watch collecting is all about. It's not about starting off with the best. It's the progression, the journey. And the IWC, the Breitling Aerospace, that's a solid watch there. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying quartz myself, but hey, that's still, it's a decent watch, decent decent quartz watch, Swiss Breitling. And you're asking me, what do I think? Now, this IWC, I got to tell you, these are quite collectible. There was a great article, Houdinki did a great article on this very model. And they've become very collectible. They're kind of like a modern classic. And I think it shows very, very good taste. One of the early ceramic pieces. And I think it's a fabulous watch. I can see no problems with this at all. In fact, Houdinki was saying that it's a really smart buy. And I got to say this to you. It's I very much I'm new to the IWC brand there, and that they use a lot of movements from Valjoux. You know, that it's interesting. You know, in this day and age, it's kind of looked down upon. Like Breitling also uses a lot of Valjoux movements. However, when you look into the history of these makers, a lot of watchmakers did use other movements. I mean, Patek used Novo Lamania movements in all the really expensive, these watches that get crazy money. They're Lamania based Pateks. The really, really valuable, the Paul Newman Daytonas, they're all Valjoux 727 manual wind chronograph. So, you know, I got to tell you, in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with this here. I mean, there's a bit of snobbery. They're saying, oh, it should be going in-house, but it's a 7750 is a good workhorse type movement there. Nothing wrong at all with it. And what do I think of your choice there? Well, that's a fabulous choice. See, the whole thing about watch collecting is the way things, you know, happen. You've got to buy things. I always say this. You've got to buy things that you really like, and if they become popular and valuable, well, that's fantastic. But if they don't, so what? So what? It's what you really like. And I got to say, this was really way, I think the reason it wasn't successful, it was way ahead of its time. It was way ahead of its time. And I kind of think, you know, they're actually quite collectible now. They've had a change of fortune, and it's easy to see why, because it's such a cool watch itself. So I really love it. I can see nothing wrong with that watch at all. I think it's great. And that's partly the fun. You go through a hunt for it, and you eventually, you know, you've got to find something that you truly love. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's what you truly love. And I quite like it. I've always loved the numerals on the IWC chronographs. I love those kind of those really nice Arabics. It's a classic. It's a classic piece. Ceramic. I mean, this was way ahead of its time, and I think yeah, they're actually quite collectible now. So you haven't done badly at all. And this is the beautiful thing. You got to buy things that you love. Don't worry about what other people, you know, think is important. It's what you love. So if you love it, that's the important thing. But what do I think of it? I quite like it. It's classic IWC chronograph. It's kind of unique. They had limited production run of this model here. Very, very cool. It's a very cool watch, and I don't think you can really criticize it. I think it's a great watch, and it's got all the hallmarks. It's very limited production run. They're starting to become quite popular now, and I think it was more ahead of its time than anything else. So to answer your question there, is it collectible? Yes, it is. It is very collectible. Houdinki the Houdinki article, I'll link to that in the description, made reference to the collectability. Or is it just a shitty watch? No, this is a great watch itself there. I think it's very tasteful. IWC is a great brand. They're a great brand. And I also don't mind the Breitling Aerospace. Yeah, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't buy a quartz. But I think they are quite. I think the Breitling, now that you've got the Aerospace, just keep it. That's a great piece to have. That's always good to have a quartz in your collection. You know, there's a bit of criticism, the Valjoux 7750. Yep, you're paying a lot of money just for a generic type movement. But the IWC has always been fairly unique. Pilot watches have always been their genre. And I don't hate it. I quite like it. I think it's a very cool chronograph to have. And you've chosen well. I mean, it's one that you liked. You went on the search for it, the hunt, and it's quite a collectible wristwatch in modern times there. So I think, hey, kudos to yourself. Well done indeed there. You're also saying that the watch I'd love to buy one day is the Sky Dweller, the steel with the white gold with the blue. Ooh, that is so cool. That is such a cool watch. Again, you know, my holy grail watch in the noughties, 2004-ish, was the Patek Philippe World Time. I thought, oh, no way in the world I could ever afford that. And you know, it's one of these things. You give it some time, and one came up, and I managed to acquire one. So don't ever say never. I mean, you've got to wait for them to come out into the marketplace, but they will. And once they're in the marketplace, they'll start to fall. That's a really, I honestly love the Sky Dweller itself. I think it's a great watch, and I think that'd be a great three-piece collection, don't you think? Breitling Aerospace, IWC, Fliegerchonograph ceramic, a Sky Dweller, and maybe throw in an Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon, because that's the ultimate pilot watch, isn't it? Went to the moon, piloting a shuttle to the moon. So yeah, definitely that's some very interesting stuff there. And it's good to hear the story. I mean, this is the whole thing about watch collecting. It's about your journey. It's the journey you've taken. And I honestly think this is the fun bit. It's looking back and you pick some. I mean, you pick the wrong thing. I mean, many years ago, I got the Explorer 2. And, you know, I could have got a GMT for the same price. GMT is much more valuable. You don't always pick the winner. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. That's just how life is. So yeah, I can't fault that watch. IWC is very decent. Look, they're expensive. They are expensive considering it's a ETA Valjoux 7750 based watch. They're expensive, but in the same token, they're not a rubbishy watch. It's a very much, IWC is a decent brand, and huge cult following to IWC. People really love the brand, and that one you've got there, hey, that's a fantastic story. So what a great piece. I'm Paul Pluta. This is the Archie Luxury Paul Pluta channel. Tell me what you think, and guys, what do you reckon? What do you reckon about his IWC Fliegerchonograph ceramic? I love it. I reckon it's so cool. Tell me what you think. Comments below. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and look in the description for 10 ways you can keep me permanently on YouTube.
We specialize here in pre-owned Rolex watches. Rolex watch is a very special timepiece, and we always do the servicing exactly as factory specifications. We buy a pre-owned piece and we put it into brand new condition. We have Rolex certified technicians working on that. We completely disassemble the piece. We adjust and polish and change every single part of the watch.
You have to have certified watchmakers that know what they're doing. If you have an expensive car, you're just not going to bring it to any mechanic that doesn't know what they're doing.
You spend $5,000, it's like if you put money in the safe deposit box. And 1 or 2 years from now, you will keep having your $5,000. We have to spend a lot of money to get all this equipment together, but makes me feel I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's not a question of money, it's my passion.
Jewelers on time, simply the best.